Hey y'all, welcome to my channel Sewing with Tay. My name is Fantasia of the Aya Emporium. Hey y'all, hey girl, hey. I really want to make a dress. I have been wanting to make this dress that's like super flowy, cotton, easy, breezy, just throw on dress. I'll find a picture and put it up here. I just want to make the dress, and I was going to pattern make it because it seems relatively easy, just like a little swing shebang. But I'm being lazy, and I honestly just want to sew the dress. I have a lot of other stuff I need to be sewing. I just want to make this dress because I want to wear it. And my goal in 2024 is to make more of my own clothes. Not only make more of my own clothes, but make clothes that I actually want to wear and that I will wear more than once. Because I have a bad habit of making clothes like, oh, this is cute, and then it just kind of goes into a bin or a box, and I never wear it again. And the point of it is to stop buying clothes and to wear my own clothes. So we're gonna throw this together real quick. We're gonna see how it goes. I bought this pattern off of Etsy because I didn't feel like doing it, and when I put it together, it wasn't as big as what I wanted it to be, the visual in my head. So I did have to slash and spread and tape in more paper to get a bigger sweep. So we just gonna see how it goes, and that's it. I just want to sew a dress. This is a sew along, not a tutorial. So let's sew the dress. So actually, this dress is a lot smaller than what I wanted it to be. But at this point, I'm just going to keep going. I've decided I wanted to make this dress. So even though it's not going to be that flowy, we're still just going to see where this ends. It also had a dart, which I didn't necessarily want, but I'm just going to keep going. This here I'm using is 108-inch wide Kona cotton fabric from Joann, so nothing fancy. The first thing I'm going to do is the darts. So I'm just going to pin together my dart intake, and then I'm going to take this to the machine and I'm going to sew straight across, making sure to tie off my dart ends per standard dart construction. So here's me at the actual sewing machine, stitching it, making sure that I backstitch at the beginning, but when you get to the point or your apex of your dart, you do not want to backstitch here. You want to make your strings long and tie them in a knot. I'm semi concerned that this isn't as full as I want it to be, so I'm just going to hold this up against my body to kind of get a visual of how big this actually is going to be. And it's not going to be that flowy. It's definitely not fitted, but it's not super flowy. Once I have my dart sewn, I'm going to serge around my pockets. I'm going to serge all of my seams. I'm not going to necessarily show myself serging them, but I'm going to serge all the way around my pockets. I like to do this so that both inside seam allowances are finished when you sew the dress together. So I sew all the corners and the straight edge of my pocket bags, and I also serge the side seams so that they're all clean finished. I took this time to also serge my center back seam and to serge the entire hem so that once I am done with serging those edges, that I can go straight to my sewing machine and just keep sewing and not have to worry about going back and forth to the sewing machine. So the next step here is I want to mark where the pockets are going to go. So the pockets are measured below the armhole edge. For this, I probably use like 6.5. So I'm going to make a mark here, and then I'll know where my pocket bags need to start. We also have to do this for the back, so you'll see me here putting the back armholes together. You see all my edges have already been serged. I'm going to put that armhole together so I make sure that the side seam is straight. So you have that here. We're going to measure that 6.5 down from below the armhole, and I'm going to make a mark so that I know where to put my pocket. With right sides together, you're going to take your pocket bag, align it with the notch that you made on your fabric. We're going to pin down the straight side of the pocket, and you're going to do this on both sides of the front and both sides of the back. You'll see me doing that here. Make sure you clip your threads because it gets a little messy when things get sewn and things are starting to get attached. So I try to clip as I go because a clean garment is a happy garment. So now we are going to make sure right sides together, the top edge of your pocket aligned with the notch that we made in the last few seconds, and then we're going to pin top and bottom, and we're going to put a pin in the middle. We're going to take this to our sewing machine. We are going to sew down a 1/2 inch starting at the top of the pocket. We're going to go straight down to the bottom of the pocket. And to make sure that your pocket doesn't roll out or isn't doing any weird like poking out on the body, we're going to edge stitch the seam allowance to the pocket bag. So you see me flip it here. My seam allowance is going towards the pocket bag, and then I'm going to stitch very close to the seam on the pocket bag to attach the seam allowance to the bag so that it stays inside. You're going to repeat the same process for the other pockets on the back of your body, and then you're going to also repeat the same process on the 2 pocket bags that are attached to the front of your garment. Now we are going to lay our pattern pieces down right sides together, and we're going to sew down the side seam around the pocket all the way to the hem, starting at the armhole or starting at the hem. So you see me here pinning them together. We're going to head back to our sewing machine, and there's nothing complicated about this. We're just going to start at the top. I did not pin my garment before sewing because I didn't feel like it. But if you're a beginner and you want to make sure you're sewing things correctly and you're catching all the layers that need to be caught, use your pins until you feel like you're comfortable to not use them. So these are the straps. They were pretty long. I don't know. I thought they were long, but I didn't check them. They ended up being pretty long. But we're going to fold them in half, raw edges together, and you're going to back stitch and you're going to sew all the way down. Once you get the tube sewn, we're going to take a loop turner and turn it inside out so that it can be used for the dress. So we are now going to take our straps and we're going to attach them at the front and at the back. So I started by picking one side, and then I am going to top stitch it right on, and then I like to swing it around to the back to top stitch it so that you are sure that you're not going to cut or catch your strap in anything when you're working on. Your strap should be connected from front to back on the left and the right side. So once you have that caught up, we're going to move into the neckline. I have this interior binding. I aligned it with the edge of my neckline, and I sewed this in pieces to finish the neck edge. So we have the front, which is what this is here, and then we're going to have the side seams, so the length or the width between the front armhole along the side seam and along the armhole. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with myself. You're gonna take that pin and you're going to pin along the armhole to the side seam, and then you're also going to pin the back armhole and up until you get to the strap. So then I'm gonna take it back to my machine and I'm going to stitch it all together. This is double fold bias tape that I did buy from Joann's. So I'm just opening up this edge and stitching it along the top edge Once of you've my applied the garment. Binding to the front arm, the front neckline, the back neckline, and the left and right armholes, it will look kind of like this. It may be a little bit neater, but kind of like this. I am just going to fold that in so that I get a nice clean edge just like that, and I'm going to put a 1/4 inch top stitch there, making sure that I capture that binding inside the neck edge of the dress, and I sewed this over the straps so you'll get a clean finished strap like that. You can also do a facing with this. I didn't feel like making a facing. A facing would be a lot simpler than what this binding is, but I had binding tape, so I said why not, let's use it. Sewing the binding can be a little bit tricky, especially with such a small binding. You want to make sure that you are folding that binding piece all the way over so that it is flat so that you can sew it and you will know that it is in the right place. Nothing's worse than putting on a dress and seeing that your facing or your binding is rolling out. So you'll see here, I am folding it over and I am pushing the brown binding towards the inside, and then I am continuing with a top stitch. And you're going to do this all the way around for the front and back neckline and the left and right armhole. So I decided I was going to do a hem height of 3/4 since this is that 108-inch fabric from Joann's. I'm not that concerned about wasting money on a tall hem. So I decided to do a 3/4 hem. I did do this by my eye. I did not use a measuring tape or a ruler. Again, if you're a beginner, please use your measuring tape. Please use your ruler to make sure that you are following the correct measurements. Once I got the hem put in, I just threw the dress on to try it on really fast, and for some reason I did not have sound, so ignore me talking. But I'm basically saying I felt like my neckline was too wide, so I ended up bringing it in 1 inch, and my pocket placement is good, so I don't have to alter those. And I'm overall okay with the dress. It's not as flowy as I want, but I think this is a really easy pull-on dress that I can manage. Here is the dress. I feel like if I had some shirring at the neckline and doubled the sweep, I would get closer to what I want. But here we are. Here is my little maxi dress. I think this would be cute with some sandals just out and about during the day. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you decide to make your own, please tag me on my social media at the Aya Emporium on Facebook and Instagram, and Sewing with Tay on TikTok. But until next time, bye. Happy sewing.